Okay, hi and welcome to this video. Today I'm focusing on the issue of how to be successful in your online Canvas class at Lake Tahoe Community College. Whether you're taking a class in culture anthropology, magic, witchcraft, and religion, introduction to sociology, crime and society, or some of the other classes that I offer, I think it's really important in the beginning of your class to establish some of the ground rules and to discuss some of the foundations of what might be considered successful work in your online class. So I'll just go through a few of these, and if you have additional questions, you certainly read the syllabus, look over all the policies listed on your Canvas syllabus, and of course email me with any questions as they do arise. The first thing to state is I'm very strict about deadlines. I'm not really concerned about if your other classes have more loose deadlines or your instructors allow makeup work. On my policy 1.1, that if you ask me for an extension when you've missed a deadline, I will 100% of the time say no to that. And that's just how it's going to be. There is one exception. One exception is if you can provide to me a verifiable medical reason. Something from a doctor, something that I can verify. It has to be very official, and that's on a case-by-case basis. Otherwise, there won't be extensions of any sort. So again, I'll say this, there will not be extensions of any sort. I sound like a broken record, but people ask me every quarter that I've been teaching, and I've been teaching online since 2004. So it's very important. And by the way, if any of these policies don't fit with your expectations of your life, of your educational needs, there are other classes out there. And I'm serious about this because I'm not going to give extensions or alter my rules, because then essentially I'm punishing the good students in the class. I don't make the assumption in making this video that all of you watching this will fall into the camp of people who maybe make excuses or don't follow the rules. But I'm really trying to establish this at the beginning of your class such that there are clear expectations set. The second thing is to clearly focus on what the assignments are and to complete the assignments. It's kind of obvious, but again, some people miss some of the details. So the first week of your class, what you should do is read over the syllabus, look at what's due. You'll notice in any of my classes, there typically will be a series of exams, sometimes at the midterm and also the final. If you're taking the class in the summer, it'll be on a different system, obviously 6 weeks or 7 weeks instead of 11 or 12 weeks if you're taking it during the academic year. You also need to look at what is required in terms of the discussion posts. In all my classes now I have a policy that if you do not complete 80% of the discussion posts in the class, I will deduct a few hundred points from your exam scores. And the reason for this is you will not get anything higher in my class, anything higher than a D, if you do not complete all the assignments. You can't essentially take a class like this and just complete 2 exams and expect to get a B or a C. So you need to know that, just be very aware of what the assignments are in the class. Next, this is very important, technology is not an excuse. It will never be an excuse. So if it's 4:50 the day that your assignment is due, typically my discussion posts are due at 5 o'clock. The day will vary with the class that you're taking, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And if it's 4:50 and you are going to cut and paste from your Microsoft Word document or on your phone, and you get on to do this, and the internet isn't working, do not email me at 6 o'clock that evening and say, I'm really sorry, will you accept these? I got on and unfortunately the computer crashed on me or my Wi-Fi went out. We all have deadlines. I don't want to go into that, but all of us with work or publications that we might be doing or expectations we have with our family, when we have to pay our taxes, etc. We all have deadlines. We have to follow deadlines in this class. So again, if technology comes up as an excuse for me and you present that to me as an excuse, I won't listen to it. So that's not going to be the case in this class. Again, if any of these things I'm going through strikes you as harsh or too strict or whatever, these are my expectations. You have to follow my rules when you're in my class, and that's essentially it. This is very important. There will be there should be no plagiarism in the class. I catch plagiarism almost every quarter. I think people think that I don't check or that I won't check. I check. I do random checks throughout the quarter. I will just basically go onto your discussion posts. I will select the text, I will copy it, paste that into a Word document. I'll do this for the entire class, and then I run that through my plagiarism software. I've caught multiple cases per quarter. I really need to read over my policy on plagiarism. You know, there are very harsh penalties, including potential disciplinary action by the college. There's a zero tolerance policy on plagiarism. Do not plagiarize. Please don't. I will catch it. I catch it 100% of the time. I know all the tricks. I know the trick about replacing characters with ghost characters, hidden characters. I read all the websites on how to avoid plagiarism detection, and I catch it 100% of the time. Again, I shouldn't have to say this, but I do, because I find plagiarism every quarter. So that's the deal. Do not plagiarize. Here's my policy 1.1. Do not request exceptions to rules, deadlines, or class policies. Again, I'm going to say no 100% of the time unless you have a verifiable medical excuse that I have to approve and decide as being legitimate. So please do not ask for exceptions for any of these policies I've gone through today. This is very important with your discussion posts. Be aware of the need to respect others in the class. I actually have a sample on all my syllabi here of conduct code. What it says here: I support free speech and the critical debate of issues in the class. I will not tolerate bullying behavior either of the student or the instructor. The following are examples of inappropriate content for the class. And this is a case where someone took the class and we were reading something about white privilege, and the person basically said that maybe it's because this article is just total crap. Now, again, maybe that's something that with your friends on Facebook, on social media, you're having a drink at the bar with some friends, you're going out to a cafe, you're debating politics, you're debating current issues, you're talking about sports, etc. Maybe it's legitimate in those contexts, in the social context. This is a classroom. In a classroom context, this is not acceptable. I will ask you once, if there's an issue that comes up, and I give everyone one chance, if something comes up and you post something and I deem it inappropriate, I'll say, please go back and fix this. If the behavior becomes persistent, and with this particular person it did, then I will initiate, basically reaffirm my authority in the class. I'm the one who decides grades in the class. I decide what's acceptable and what is not. And if you're not following my rules, then there will be penalties, there will be consequences for this. The consequences, again, will depend on how quickly you adjust your behavior. And I know this sounds very punitive, but unfortunately in the past, in my classes and some others in social science, I've heard about these stories where someone disagrees with the reading and they personalize it. And I'm not saying if you read something in your class that you can't disagree. By all means disagree, but there's an appropriate way to disagree and an inappropriate way. An inappropriate way is to call something crap or to attack someone in a class. What this person should have done was discussed their view on this article on white privilege, which I recall was on Peggy McIntosh's article, White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack, which you may read in my classes or others. What they should have done was said, well, I disagree with these positions because, and then give very concrete examples. I'm not suggesting that I'm going to censor you or I'm going to say you have to agree with me 100% of the time, but if it becomes personal, if it becomes bullying, if people get into name calling, if people use harsh language, then there could be an issue. I will always bring that to your attention, ask you to correct it, and then hopefully that's enough there. But be very aware that be aware of the fact that I do take this seriously, and if it becomes an issue, I will use the appropriate measures available to me, including the LTCC Student Code of Conduct. I can also block you from the class as well, and let's just hope that that stuff doesn't happen again. I don't want that to happen, but I'm saying this because it's happened in the past. I'm trying to nip it in the bud right now, and hopefully this will be a very good opportunity for all of us to reflect on professionalism and the need to be appropriate in our class conduct and discussions. And this relates to that. Discussions are not trivial conversations. So actually what that person did here was trivialize this, because again, this would be appropriate maybe to a barroom discussion, a cafe discussion, a discussion on social media where there's more vitriol and personal stuff going back and forth, unfortunately. It's not appropriate to an academic class. So again, do not write something, whatever class you're taking with me, for your discussion posts that is trivial. In other words, if I'm asking you to write about something in the chapter, you can use examples from the real world, but you have to show your knowledge of the text, of the issues that we're debating that week, of the videos that we're watching, of any of the activities and conversations that we're having. So what I want to suggest to you is that there's conversations that are appropriate to social media and to other contexts of everyday life, and then those are not appropriate for our classroom conversations. Again, I'm not saying you have to stifle, I'm not trying to stifle what you're saying. I'm not trying to say you can't use humor. I'm not trying to say you can't get personal with stuff. You just can't take it to a level where it's trivial, or where, as I said previously, it becomes a problem because it's seen, your conversations or your discussion posts might be seen as bullying type behavior, hate speech, or inflammatory language. If there are any questions, ask me. And that's always what I say here is if you get stuck on anything, ask me. We'll have a conversation, email me, ask the rest of the class, and hopefully it'll be an enjoyable class. This maybe sounded a little bit punitive, it maybe sounded a little bit harsh, but I really want to make it clear at the beginning of the quarter that there are rules for this class, there are appropriate ways to conduct yourself. I hope you have an enjoyable class, but at the same time, I hope you can follow some of the rules that I've established for your online Canvas class. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck as you move into week 1 here in your online Canvas class at Lake Tahoe Community College.